The paradigm that I find the best for investing, and it's obviously most people can't do it, is activism. I am not predicting, though, Eric. I'm not predicting that we're in a bear market. I'm not predicting that this is going to end, so this euphoric atmosphere. But I am predicting this, that, and it's not much of a prediction, I guess, but sooner or later, a situation like this is going to end relatively badly. Some less badly, some more. But you can't keep printing up money and printing it up and printing it up, because you get what you have now that you can't control. The government can't control inflation. It controls it only what they're doing, what Volcker had to do. Bring interest rates up to 18%. I remember those days. It was unbelievable. So I think that's going to happen, but I'm not here to discuss. I'm not a macroeconomics guru, and I just look at simple facts. That's all I do. Simple facts. A simple fact here is the tension between inflation and printing up money can't continue to exist for that possible.
You say, Carl, that you're not predicting a bear market, but this is going to end in an ugly way. What's the difference?
Okay, well, I'm not predicting a near-term bear market. Nobody can predict what's going to happen next week, next month, maybe even next year or two. You really can't predict that. Too many variables. The whole political scene, the whole question of the presidency. But on a big picture methodology, you can look at it and say, it's simple. I think it's economics 101 in high school. You can't just keep pushing out money. You can't just keep giving away money, because that money will definitely lose its worth, like anything else. If you make too many widgets, the widget seems to work. So here's what's happening. We keep putting out money. The Fed keeps pushing it out there. And that's great for a while. I mean, that's great. It's like makes you happy. But and at times it's certainly needed. But now you can't. That party has to stop. And sooner or later, what's going to happen is and you're having it already now. The manifestations of it is rampant inflation, and it's not there yet. But it has to be controlled, and it's not something that you can wait to see if it happens, because I've seen that in the past. You wait too long, maybe. But I'm not here to say the Fed's doing a bad job. In fact, I think the Fed has done a pretty good job over the last few years in sort of saving the economy. So that's not the issue. But the issue is, if you're asking me to predict something, I'm always saying, and it's not saying very much, I guess, that over the next 3-4 years, or maybe a lot sooner, you are going to see this whole thing hit the wall in one way or another. It's not going to be a pretty apple. Yeah, look, I mean, over the years, the paradigm that I find the best for investing, and it's obviously most people can't do it, is activism. And going into companies where the stock is selling cheaply for a number of reasons. And if we can get in there and we can do something, we can help that company. Sometimes we come as uninvited guests, but a lot of companies in this country are terribly run, just terribly run. And by the way, in my mind, that's the reason for the problems that we have today. You have companies that the CEOs are making 10, 15 million a year, and many of these guys are not capable of doing the job, with many, many exceptions. I want to say many exceptions, many very good CEOs work his soul, and you pay him, and if things are going well, I don't mind seeing that guy making a lot of money because he's producing. But there's so many bad ones and so many bad boards because the boards aren't doing the one job they're paid to do, which is make that CEO accountable. So those stocks go down, things get into a problem. We come in, and that's our paradigm. We try to clean it up and just change a few simple things, or maybe one or a few simple things. And over the years, we ended up if you bought our stock, IEP, which is sort of a surrogate for what we do. We have other money, but that's what you could look at. If you put if you put money into the company again and bought that stock, you made today, if you look back, you reinvested the dividends, you made 1,900%. And I think the S&P is only 600%, 500% that you made. So the proof of the pudding's in the eating. You do very well by following and doing this. That's what we do. There are ups and downs. Yeah, it's a bumpy ride. Sometimes we lose for a few years. Sometimes secular changes. But the issue I'm trying to make is that the reason we're successful is because you have this very strong problem in our economy today. There's no accountability.
You talked about waiting for stocks to become cheaper for you to really begin to look at them, to begin to enter. And I am curious if that process maybe already started for you in January, and if there were stocks where you looked and they were cheap and we started to already see some of that volatility, or is it still yet to come?
Yeah, and it's more, when you say a stock is cheap, it's cheap for us when we think they're hidden value in the company. It's not that we're buying them because the market is cheap and the market's good, because we keep things hedged. We had that record, and we were hedged all along in bull markets, meaning that we had shorts on the S&P, for instance, or other shorts. So we buy what we think is good, and maybe in that industry you short a stock. I try to stay away as much as I can, and I've learned this lesson the hard way. Stay away from predicting the near-term movements of the market. I read all the guys, and they all have great ideas. But I tell you, I think there's just too many variables to tell you and to even talk about what the market's going to do next week, next month. So we just find companies that we think are valuable if you do certain things, where you have poor managements and you can just uncover the hidden jewel, for instance. And we've done it a number of times. You think back and some of them are obvious shit. Sometimes it takes a few years to make it work.
I want to know what you make of these proposed rules and the impact that they'll have on activism.
It's interesting. I mean, there are rules that the SEC are promoting that I think are sort of necessary without getting into the details. I think there are abuses. Like I just said in the CMBX area, there are abuses. By eating these mutual funds and eating these investment bankers and guys I know in front of me. However, the one that I'm adamantly against, and really, again, I'm saying not because it relates to me, which it does relate to me to some extent, but in a very ironic way, you might even hold me. But what they're doing now is throwing out the baby with the bathwater when it comes to activism. Because I completely, totally believe this, that this country, one of the real problems in this country, I said it before, and maybe that one of our problems is that we have great corporations, but many of them are terribly managed. And that's one of the problems we have. We have the wrong guys running a lot of these companies, and there's no way to get rid of them. There really is, because there really is no corporate democracy today. I mean, corporate democracy is an oxymoron, because you really don't have fair votes. And I'm not saying something people aren't almost agreed about, that you really, to go in and fight a company, it costs you a great deal of money. First of all, they beat you up with PR. But I've been through it, so that's what I'm saying. These rules don't affect me as much. They beat you up with PR. It's more of a feudalistic system, to be euphemistic.
Which is the rule specifically that you think would affect you and perhaps other people too?
The rule that they're trying to push now is the 10-day rule, where if you buy stock, so an activist wants to accumulate some stock. He says, okay, I'm going to face all these problems. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to have to put up with the PR. I'm going to have to spend a great deal of money proxy fight. I mean, in a political election, you put the guy in jail if you're the president and you use the money, the government's money, to go fight in the political arena. Here, you have to do all these things. So, but the one thing the activist might be able to make money with is he bought stock first, and then he gets to 5%, and then they let you buy stock for another 5-6 days, so you accumulate some stock, and then when it gets out, if he has a chance, or he gets the company to sell themselves or do all these things, he makes some money for all the work he did. Otherwise, why should an activist even do it?